they found it hard to believe when they heard such a thing from Ed. Clebius also told him that this situation was not a joke, but Six immediately stopped him and told him to at least listen to what he had to say first. Ed continued. They had to face Janica, who was under the control of the dark spirit philosopher, after passing Tarkhan, the fire spirit that Janica summoned, but as they knew from fighting Tarkhan, his shell was impenetrable, so it was impossible for them to deal any damage. That way, they didn't need to fight Tarkhan directly. While one group distracted Tarkhan, the other group could enter the room to practice combat to subdue the controlled Janica. By bypassing Tarkhan, they could fight Janica directly. But Lortel felt that it didn't make sense at all. The current summoned Tarkhan was much different from the one during the combat training back then. They managed to retreat earlier just because they were lucky. If the distraction group failed and Tarkhan went after the conquering group, or worse, if the distraction group was slaughtered, we would end up fighting both at once. The risk was too high. Ed knew that, but they could reduce the risk only if there was another option. Their main goal was to conquer Janica, then Tarkhan would lose power. Zix then asked the crucial question, who would enter the distraction group? Would they just draw lots for the suicide mission? But Taylor suddenly took the initiative to enter the group. But Ed immediately opposed it. He told him not to be careless and not to join the group. He should be part of the group that entered the training room. But Taylor was still adamant. His speed was advantageous. He was not sure how long she could run, but if sacrifice was needed, he was the one who had to go. Ed then immediately corrected his wrong thinking. They were not choosing sheep to sacrifice. They did not need to divide the two groups equally. Clebius and Lortel were enough, and he would also join them to distract Tarkhan. But the two of them immediately refused. After hearing that, Ed told them to trust him. He had a way that could tie Tarkhan's legs, but the two of them didn't seem to believe it at all. Ed was annoyed because they also had little time left. But Phinia suddenly agreed to his plan. She still didn't understand his intentions. She then issued an order as Phinia Elias Klol, the third princess of the Empire of Klol. She will divide the conquest group into two, Taylor, Zix, Elvira, Isla, and she will be Janica's conquest group. Clebius, Lortel, and Ed Roth Taylor will be Tarkhan's distraction group. Time is precious, so she will shorten this. Please don't die. After that they carried out the plan with their respective groups. Nailgwin Corridor. After arriving there, Ed's group finally saw the figure of Tarkhan. Lortel then asked how the plan was to intercept the fire lizard. Ed told her to just follow his words. If they kept following the plan, they would definitely win, and they ran towards Tarkhan. Seeing Clebius' worried look, Ed then told him not to worry. The gloomy Clebius was easily scared and lacked confidence in his abilities. But he was the top student of the first-class combat faculty. Ed encouraged him. He could do it. Clebius himself was confused why Ed could be so confident. He wondered if there really was a way behind that door. In the room practicing combat, there is Janica Feylover. They only need to lure Tarkhan. He got carried away because of the princess's determination and ended up here. But he was not alone. Maybe he could gather the courage to try. Clebius's spirit was lifted again at this time. Seeing the lowly human who approached him, Tarkhan immediately let out a burst of breath. Clebius was anxious again when he saw that. He then asked how they lured him, but he was then confused when the two people who had been behind him suddenly disappeared. He immediately broke out in a cold sweat. He felt very scared when Tarkhan slowly approached him. He then immediately ran in fear. He cursed them for deceiving him, and asked why they did this to him. The screams of Clebius were heard by Lortel, who was currently in a place not far away. She then recalled the plan Ed had talked about. Ed deliberately pushed Clebius into the Nailgwin corridor alone. Lortel then asked if he wanted to sacrifice Clebius. It might not be a bad idea, but morally, it was questionable. But Ed reiterated this was not a sacrifice. Clebius, despite his appearance, he's a top-ranked student and has outstanding endurance. Besides, the most crucial role belongs to her, Lortel, behind the Nailgwin wall, outside the room practicing combat. Her job is to secure the entry point for Janica's group of conquerors, and it's her job to deliver the critical attack on Tarkhan. It seemed that she was not the kind of person who liked to prejudge based on rumors. Others might hesitate, but as for her, she was good at this kind of thing. Lortel then attacked the wall using the ice shard fragments she had summoned. The impact of her attack was so powerful that it made a sizable hole in the wall. Looking at those who were just petrified, Lortel then asked what they were doing. They had to go in now. Come to think of it, during the joint combat training, she had used a forbidden mid-level spell to blow up the roof of Nailgun. Maybe that was why Ed assigned her this role. She felt Ed was an interesting guy. Instead of that, the entry point was secured. She then checked Klebius' current condition. Klebius is still running scared from Tarkan's pursuit while cursing the two of them. Even if the plan succeeds and the conquering group can enter without meeting Tarkan, the three of them will have to face Tarkan, who will explode. Facing Tarkan in the student square that has no way out, Lortel asked him if he wanted to die. Ed replied, they can't run and can't escape, they have no choice but to catch him. Because of his shell, no attack would work against it. Lortel then asked, hadn't he seen during the combined combat training, she had already lost to that spirit once. And none of the hunting group members could even scratch him. Hearing her doubts, Ed then took out a pouch. They could use this for the shell. He told her to just gather her magic and prepare. Seeing the pouch he took out, Lortel then asked what it was. As he recalled the incident, Ed thought Lortel was right. Without elemental slash, among the members of the conquest group, no one could destroy Tarkan's shell. The ice wall created by Lortel could even be destroyed easily by him. Ed then entered into a room. What they needed was a powerful force. There he saw Lucy, who was still sound asleep. Facing the last challenging chapter, there were few people who wanted to complete the objective to 100%, but he had tried it many times. Lucy was confused when someone suddenly interrupted her nap. Ed was annoyed that she could sleep at a time like this. After all, this was not daytime, this was night, since there was nowhere to rest after the shelter was destroyed. Lucy came to this rooftop, where she usually took a nap, more precisely, because she should not be involved in the scenario, so she continued to fall asleep. At that time Janika's condition was not good. Belle Maya became sensitive because of that. That's why Lucy, who escaped, ran out of magic and fell asleep. Originally, this is a game mechanism to eliminate character imbalance from the scenario. Lucy then suddenly woke up after smelling beef jerky. The beef jerky turned out to be from the bag that Ed showed Lortel earlier. Now, with this, Ed then crammed all the beef jerky in the bag into Lucy's mouth at once. This is not the time to fuss. Ed then looked like he was going to throw Lucy. His target was the burning lizard. Ed wondered if his reach would be enough. He then calmed himself down. He had done this many times in the military. He then threw Lucy as fast as he could and shouted to make them all duck. When everyone was desperate when faced with the extraordinary strength of Tarkan, Lucy then came. She cursed Ed for throwing her so cruelly. But Lucy's arrival was immediately able to block the breath attack thrown by Tarkan. Lucy then attacked Tarkan using her lightning magic, high-level lightning magic. Heavenly punishment. The attack was so powerful that it illuminated everything. Fortunately, the people around there were protected by Lucy's protective magic, which made them come out unharmed. Although from a distance, Ed was also affected by Lucy's attack. It can be said, this is the most crucial moment. Tarkan, a high fire spirit, was previously unconquerable due to his hard shell despite all efforts, but now, after being struck by Lucy's high-level magic, his hard shell was broken. Now he was vulnerable to their attacks. Of course, defeating him would result in huge EXP points. Since it had come this far, Ed would certainly take everything he could. He will take the last hit.
So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.